The formula may also include numbers that are basically entered into a single cell or more than one cells. Now basically a cell is included in a formula, so we can identify a cell with the help of its reference or address. Now we know that every cell on a worksheet is basically identified by its address, which has basically two parts. The first part is the name of the column and the second part is row number. Now if we click on to that one, this one, so you can see that in the name box the address of the current cell that I'm selecting is basically displayed on the name box. So the cell address of this one is basically it belongs to column E and row number 1. So the cell address is E1. According to this cell, the cell address is basically A1. Now in MS Excel, the first cell address is A1, which is basically the cell exists in column A and row number 1, and the last cell address, it will be this one, XFD 10,48,000. This one is the last cell of a single worksheet. So as you can see that in the name box, this one is the address XFD 10,48,576. So the address of one or more than one cells can included in. So when a cell address is basically appears in a formula, it represents the number or the value that is basically stored on that cell. Suppose the cell B3 contains a number which is 50. So if I am going to write a formula in the cell B3, which is basically equals to, suppose, 5 multiplied by, so in multiplication sign in Excel that should be given by this asterisk sign, it indicates multiplication. So 5 multiplied by, so if I select this cell B3, in that case the value or the number that belongs to the cell B3 is basically gets copied here. So if I hit the enter button from the keyboard, so it displays 250. So basically when we enter the cell address, when the cell address appears in the formula, it basically represents the number or the value that is basically stored on that particular cell. So in this formula, the number currently stored on the cell B3 is basically 50. So that's why when we are referencing the cell address in a formula, this is called cell referencing, and that moment of time the value or the number that is basically stored on that cell will get copied. The name of the students are available in this column, and the marks basically scored in every subject by each and every student are also available here. So our job is to calculate the total of each and every student. So let's start with calculating the total marks of the first student, which is basically Geeta Anand, and we have to display the result in the cell F4. This one is the cell address. We have to display the result here. Now in this case we have to follow some steps. Now the step number 1, which is click on the cell where we have to display the total marks. So in this case we have to display the total marks in the cell F4. So our first step is click on the cell F4 and type equals to sign or press the equals to key from the keyboard, as we know that each and every formula should begins with an equals to sign. Now step 2, that will be click on the cell B4, as we have to, our target is to add, we have to add these numbers from starting from English to social science. We have to add these four numbers to get the total. So second step is click on the cell B4. The address of the cell will get appeared in cell F4. Press the plus button from the keyboard. Repeat the same process. So click on the cell C4, hit the plus button from the keyboard. Okay. So now we have selected all four cells. Now press the enter key on the keyboard. So when I will press the enter key, the total marks will get displayed over here. So as you can see that we, when a cell address appears in a formula, these are the cell address that are appearing in this formula. So when the cell address are appearing in a formula, it basically represents the number or the value that is currently stored in that corresponding cell. So in this way also we can find the total of Aditya Jha also. So that we have to do, we have to put the equals to sign from the keyboard and then select the numbers. Just click on the cell and hit the plus button from the keyboard, and at last hit the enter button. This one also. So in this way we can calculate the total of each and every student. Okay, so when entering any formula or writing any formula in MS Excel, there are some important points that you have to kept in mind. The first one is that a formula that must be entered in the cell where you want to display the result. The second one is that a formula must begin with an equals to sign. Third one, when you are writing the cell reference in the formula, now the reference cell will automatically be highlighted. As you can see that when I'm writing the cell reference in the formula, as you can see that the cell is automatically getting highlighted over here. The current cell displays the value while the formula bar shows the formula of the cell. So this one is the current cell. So it displays the value of the addition of these four numbers, while the formula bar here we can see that the formula is getting displayed over here. When you change the value of any cell that is involved in a formula, the computed value will automatically get changed. Suppose I'm changing this value from 73 to, so as you can see that the total marks will change automatically here. So the last one that you have to keep in mind, that if a formula if any cell has a missing value or an invalid value, the result is shown as the value like this. Like this you can get the result. Here changing this 77 to A B C D. Now if I hit the enter button, as you can see that the that means the formula could not be computed legally. So in this case, that you have to do, what you have to do now, you have to remove the invalid value that correspond to the cell, and you have to put the correct value to get the correct that I have shown right now is basically a manual method to calculate the total marks of each and every student. So we have to write the formula in each and every cell. So it is basically a time consuming, and one can easily make mistakes while writing the formula. So there also exist a much simpler methods also to calculate the total marks of the students. So what we have to do is just the student which is the first in the list. So here I am already calculated the marks obtained by Geeta Anand here. Now you have to copy the total marks that is basically obtained by Geeta Anand. So you have to copy the value, the content of the cell F4 by pressing the Ctrl and C button from the keyboard. Now paste the cells F5, F6, F7 and F8. Now to paste the cell values, use the Ctrl and V button from the keyboard. In this way you can easily calculate the total marks obtained by each and every student. There exists a third method also. In this case, first you have to obtain the total marks, that is basically so now our third method is the mouse button at the extreme right corner. When the first method is much simpler to use.